Alright, I have just gone back from seeing Tron Legacy. Saw it at a late night, so I'm actually doing this review pretty late. And I love this film. I love this film. And you know what? It makes me mad that I see reviewers, critics, all giving this film negative reviews. Well, not all, but quite a lot. Quite a lot of them actually give this movie a negative review. Thank God that Roger Ebert gives it 3 out of 4. So thank you, Roger. You've been a favorite critic of mine. If I may sound like I'm talking a little quietly, it's late at night. People are trying to sleep, so I'm not going to try to wake them. But anyway, hey, I saw this film in 3D, and this is a film that is designed for 3D. Now, I know nobody likes to pay the extra ticket fee, and I do think 3D is a gimmick to get more money. But this film is designed for 3D, just like James Cameron's Avatar. The film is 2D in the real world and 3D in the Tron world. So, see the movie in 3D. Otherwise, you're not going to get that same kind of feeling. See it in 3D. I know you don't want to pay the extra ticket fee, but this one, it's worth it. So anyway, hey, I just had to go see this movie because I liked the first Tron, but it had a few problems. I mean, the pajamas and stuff, the poor lighting. It was good for its time, but you just sort of got the sense they could do better. Well, they do. This film uses CGI from the modern world and enhances the Tron world. And the other thing is, this whole movie is like a walk down memory lane. It pretty much takes the same formula of the first movie, the same kind of scenes, and actually redoes them with new CGI and new camera angles, while still keeping a fairly new story. And it delivers. I would have to say that this is perhaps my favorite movie of 2010, except for maybe Iron Man 2. Of course, I haven't exactly seen that many movies this year, many new movies, because, well, they all have been blowing. But this movie takes your favorite scenes, disc battle, light cycles, which, oh, by the way, are redesigned. They even have light jets. And what's the name of that, what's the name of that ship they use? They use it to get to this portal, and then the first movie they used it to get to the MCP's quarters. Some sort of sailor. I can't remember. But anyway, they use that. Now I'm going to try to avoid spoilers here, but the basic premise is Kevin Flynn from the first movie has gone missing, and his son, Sam Flynn, has now gotten information that he may still be alive. So Sam finds this hidden lab and gets transported to the Tron world and gets stripped down by 4 women programs and put into a Tron suit. Oh, I'm serious. These 4 women programs strip him down and then put on this new suit and equip him. And the thing that was going through my mind was, "You will be assimilated." Just like that. So anyway, turns out that the Tron world has found a group of programs called ISOs. I think that's what they were called, which are self-creating programs. And the world has been taken over by Clue 2, who was Kevin Flynn's duplicate. Now the first Clue was a hacker program in the first Tron movie, which was killed by the MCP. Well, this Clue was programmed to create the perfect system, and Kevin had been obsessed at the time when he created him, so he went on a rampage, and he started to tear down the world, took over it, reprogrammed everything, and then created this whole new empire, just like the MCP. And so Sam is trying to find a way home, save his father, and to do so, he teams up with his father, along with this character, the last, what was it called? ISO. I'm not up to date on all the tech stuff. The ISO, Cora, who I have to say is my favorite character in this movie. She's spunky and she's curious. It's like if you combine Naruto Uzumaki and Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Hey, she's spunky, she has a great personality, and she's quite curious to see what life is like outside of this world. She's quite a likable character. She's an independent program, and she can hold her own in a fight and kicks ass. Okay, she gets owned a few times, but she kicks ass. She kicks ass. Yeah, she kicks ass. So anyway, as I said, this whole movie is like a walk down memory lane. Not only does it appeal to Tron fans, but for a new generation. It explains everything. The light cycle, all the disc battles, it reintroduces the whole world of Tron to this new generation. And it actually manages to do quite a number of this with very little words. Unlike another movie that used too many words to explain everything. Last Airbender! So anyway, hey, it's a pretty awesome movie, and it appeals to a new generation of Tron fans. And the other thing that's pretty cool about this movie is it almost takes place in real time, because they say that this happened in 1989, the same year that Tron was made, and now we're into 2010. 20 years. Coincidence? Coincidence? Check Wikipedia. Measure the years. So anyway, now I will admit, this movie has a few downfalls. For starters, it kind of uses its best scenes up near the beginning. I mean, the disc battle and the light cycles, they're the highlights. But, they're kind of used up at the beginning. And after that, we have to explain the plot, which can be kind of complicated to follow. I myself have had a little bit of time. I've had to go onto Wikipedia to look at a few things, and that's a little bit too hard to follow with all the backstories. And after we get some of this stuff out of the way, we have like this long phrase, this long term of backstory explanation, and not very much happens. The ending is also not the best. Yes, it's not spectacular, but it's not really that bad. It's a fairly good ending. And here's proof. The whole audience in the theater I was at clapped. So that tells you something there. Again, it's not the most spectacular ending, but it's not that bad either. What else? Oh yeah, there's this character called Zeus who's like this Jim Carrey Riddler ripoff. He's British, and his entire character is kind of pointless. I mean, all he sort of does is dance around, waves his cane, which, oh, by the way, can shoot lasers. And he's just this crazy guy. He gets the disc, tries to give it to Clue 2, then they steal the disc back. I have no idea what was the point of his character. I mean, it's like, hey, he says, you have to learn. I'll take you to Zeus. Well, where is Zeus? I am Zeus. And then, like, Cora says, you gotta find Zeus, he'll help you. Turns out Zeus is a bad guy, and they got the disc, but then they just took it back again. And so that was completely pointless. You know, you're just pretty much praying for this guy to die. Which he does. He dies a horrible death. Yep, he dies a terrible death. One other thing is you will probably be pretty disappointed with the Tron character. I'm not going to exactly spoil anything, but he is in the movie, and he actually has a pretty emotional role. Oh, if you've seen the movie, you probably already know. If you peeked on the wikis, you cheaters, you probably know, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. His role is pretty emotional and stuff, but you're also kind of disappointed. Yeah, and you really just want to see him do some stuff. I'm not going to spoil it, but you'll just be disappointed with Tron's role. There's also a few moments like you just happen to find that, like particularly in the beginning when he finds the room. He comes to the old arcade at Kevin Flynn's place, and he's putting the coin in the arcade, it drops down, and he sees a crack on the floor, and from that one crack, he figures out that you pull back the arcade machine, and it leads you to this secret study, which is how you get to the Tron world. Really? You expect me to believe that you just saw a crack on the floor, and you figured out that you had to pull the arcade machine out and go to this secret study? You just happened to figure that out? I mean, if I saw a crack on the floor, I'd just say, hey, there's a crack on the floor. So, there's that. And like I said, after you get past the light cycles and the disc fight, you have like this long amount of explanation, which is just simply to get the backstories back. It's not as bad as The Last Airbender, in which there was explanation around every corner. You know, it's just this period, but there's a big difference. It's not that boring. It's not as interesting as the action. And then they do give you quite a lot of action in to tide you over. Unlike The Last Airbender, which gives you 5 paragraphs of text followed by a clip of action. 5 paragraphs of dialogue. A clip of action. 5 paragraphs of dialogue. A clip of action. You know, none of that. But after seeing The Last Airbender, this was a great way to get back into movies. And especially since I just finished my semester this week, this was a pretty good kickoff to winter break. I love this movie. It can stand on its own, and it's not only a sequel to Tron, but kind of a remake as well. It can stand on its own, and you don't need the first movie. You might want to get the first movie, but you could probably come right into this even if you haven't seen the first movie. I know that a number of people in the audience hadn't seen the first movie, and they liked this one. And so that's pretty much my review. Good movie. Perhaps my favorite of 2010, except for Iron Man 2. I'd have to sort of look at them back and back. Good movie. Go see it. Do see it in 3D. It's worth the cost. And take care, everyone. Tron Legacy was awesome.